What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of End of Trends. Today, we're going to talk about our favorite topic, Y-Combinator. Specifically, we're going to talk about the requests for startups for the spring of 2025 batch. So, what is Y-Combinator?
Y-Combinator is the best accelerator in the world, where companies such as Stripe, Airbnb, Reddit, and many more companies went to. And man, it's been our dreams for over, I would say, almost 7 years or 8 years. We applied more than 10 times. I think over almost going for 11 times. Got twice to the interviews. But anyways, one day we get into it. But now, Mark, let's jump right into the request for the startups of spring 2025.
So, why is this super interesting? This is super interesting because the requests for startups 2025 are basically the partners set together. And I mean, they have a bird's eye view. Think about it. They get thousands, if not tens of thousands of applications of the coolest new AI technology, in general, technology overall. So, they have an overview where the market is going and what are the new technology we're developing, especially also they invest in later stages. They have a really, really good bird's eye view. And they created a list, all the partners or a few of the partners of list of batches that they want to like products or slash companies they want to see.
I mean, one example would be they wanted to see more open source stuff, right? Because they're seeing like, okay, the puck is going toward that direction, so more and more open source stuff. Another thing, I think back in the day, I think they wanted to see more towards crypto or, for example, B2C. Now, for example, with AI startups, it's going that direction. But Mark, what was when you went through that list? What was one of your favorites?
Look, honestly, one of the cool things that I was interested in was the secure AI app store. So it was a request from Gary Tan. So basically, an app store, think about an iOS or an Android app store just for all AI tools. But any tool that gets into the store needs to be checked, vetted, basically that it's secure. How does your data, like handles data, how everything that you can think of, how that is structured. And one of these things that is hard right now because there's a lot of AI tools, but there's not a lot of marketplaces or places where you can see if it's good or not. And we're not thinking about this as an ChatGPT app store because everyone was like hyping it up and then turned out to be kind of a failure, right? Not a people or people got rich from it, or there's not a lot of value added.
So what I understand here, especially when I read this, is also think about, because right now you can also find ChatGPT and other AI apps on the App Store, but it's also about a certain layer, right? Because in the end, right now you don't have your privacy. So I want to think about it similar to, for example, on your phone, we have Apple Pay. It's on a different chip, right? So it's not, it's never leaving the system. And I'm thinking about the App Store similar, where there's a layer where all your information is stored, which never really touches the app itself. So basically, you make it sure that nobody, like the model is not getting trained to it, or the data actually leaves or gets in touch with that app store, with the app itself. That's how I understood it, which I also think is really, really important, because in the end, people like privacy. And for example, if you have certain topics, for example, might be your own health, etc., you don't want to get that data be leaked or used for training. So you rather have like a way to anonymize it, etc. So I think that's like very, very cool, and that's the way I understood it, which makes it for me fucking fantastic as well.
Well, the next thing is just very, very basic data centers. Just having more cost-efficient data centers that will make it much easier to provide more and more services, which also will help decrease the cost for all these AI tools, because AI tools are run on data centers. So it was like a basic one, but I think still fundamental for the future.
So for me, one of the coolest things was actually when you have but it was from Jared Friedman. So basically, what he says,
Nice, yeah.
that we have more and more. Like, let's put it this way: right now, if you have forms that you have to fill out, maybe an application, etc., you have to do it manually. But in the future, actually, right now, you have already OpenAI's operator. I think it's called Operator, which basically can see already the browser and directly analyze it and can help you fill out forms. So in the end, it will be more a natural conversation. So let's say you want to fill out a form for your insurance, etc. That way, you have a normal conversation with it. Like, imagine you having a consultancy with an expert itself that helps you fill out these forms. So, like for example, hey, so you understand a certain term not, so you can say, hey, could you explain this, elaborate this more, and then it just helps you fill it out. And that way, it is not as long as well as tedious, because the biggest problem is actually not the time that you spend. It's more about that you get frustrated because you don't understand a certain term, which makes it like for you, oh, I don't know what it exactly is. Oh, I just don't want it done. But the other way, in the future, this will be like a normal conversation that you're having, and that helps out these forms. Or even further down the road, when you have, for example, the security layer, right? It will remember all your personal data and can fill it out for you because it's learning across the platforms or
I mean, it's
across the
something that
apps.
we already discussed once before. It's was with ChatGPT operator, I think it was
Yeah.
OpenAI operator. And I think Anthropic has something similar as
Yeah.
well, right? I don't know what it was called there. I think that's fine. That's going to be the future. Another thing that I really was super interesting was AI personal staff for everyone by David Lieb. At the end of the day, he argues that rich people always have the technology like 10 years ahead or can afford things that other people cannot. For example, they have private drivers or cab drivers. Then came Uber, so it's like more personal, like that you can have additional services that's cheaper. Now think about it in future. Like he also argues that, for example, rich people back in the day had people go through some pictures and then sort them, filter throw out stuff that wasn't good, etc. And Google Photos did the same thing. And this will some with AI will go this similar direction. For example, a private accountant. So AI does all this stuff really, really well,
Oh
like
yeah.
because accountants are expensive, most people don't use them to a certain degree.
Like
And
tax
then you
returns. Like think
exactly.
about it. You can say, okay, I'm using this is actually because I'm working from home. These are the square meters, whatever what I'm used for my office space. This is what I conduct in the end of the year for my taxes, etc. At least that's in Germany how it can be used. So things like this that can help reduce your taxes for sure.
Even like personal lawyers, for example, or money managers or all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be all AI, but just in general, platforms that enable this much better. Personal trainers, much smaller, or private tutors. Like these kind of little things that will help you in so many different aspects, like a personal staff. Think about anyone that could help you externally that rich people would have right now, or you were like, oh, I wish I could afford this. This is something that also can be implemented, obviously on lower scale, especially with technology enabled, which would be much better.
It's like having a team. It's like you can have an own team that does it all in the background, which I think is very, very fascinating. Because in the end, before you needed that, like always have like some people to call. Well, when you have the money, right? Otherwise, it's like okay, well, I'll have to do it all myself. And also, you can automate a lot of things, which I think is very, very great. For example, may it be your tax returns, may it be like think about a personal assistant that always reminds me, hey, by the way, you have a normally you want to have once or twice a year health checkup, so you can automatically call the doctor, schedule this for you. So basically having a personal assistant always in your pocket. So I think this is where the puck is going for sure. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but I'm sure in 2 to 3 years that will be quite common.
Actually, a super interesting idea that Dalton Caldwell actually mentioned was like a software where customers will be agents. Because like Lucas already mentioned, or we discussed earlier, that there will be AI agents will crawl the internet and do things for you. But obviously, websites are currently optimized for humans, not for AI agents. AI agents. So having a platform or software where AI agents can do like better purchase stuff, book whatever it is, like basically software that enables it to make it much more convenient or
Yeah,
better for these AI agents, which then will have a huge market. Because think about it, if everyone uses an AI agent and you have the software that enables it as an interlink or an API, I don't know how that would work exactly, but that would be fucking amazing.
I agree. That's in general. Okay, Mark, what was another one that you thought was fascinating? Because I'm like, I already like the ones we talked about. All right, for example, okay, I got here another one, which is, I guess it's more niche. Well, not niche, but it's very specific. It's agents for hardware optimized code. So think about it like, for example, why is GeForce, aka NVIDIA, so dominant? Because what they're doing, they not only have hardware, where, for example, the AI runs really good, like for example CUDA, but they also have the AI, like the software that supports it, right? So you have the graphics cards where they run perfectly, as well as then have the code, which makes it like very locked in, right? So because people are using the CUDA software, as well as the hardware, and that's where people are getting locked in, as well as like that's where AI can help a lot to basically help create not only the hardware but also the software part. So you have a solution that covers both parts. Because one, like sometimes they're not the same company, right? Because for example, you have a only hardware producer, but you also need a software producer. Then, like normally, it might be two companies. For example, Microsoft doesn't do its own cheap CPUs, right? Whereas NVIDIA does its own GPUs as well as the software for AI enablement. That's why also you see such a dominance with over AMD, even though AMD in the gaming market is not doing bad. Actually, it's doing a big comeback on the CPU market, but in AI market, they are still far behind.
Honestly, I don't have another one. I liked all of these ideas that we presented. The other ones were for me a little bit out there, or I'm not specifically interested. But really, really cool ideas. I think it's going to be super interesting to see what will actually be in the next batch and how much like these startups will be impacted by the ideas that these partners mentioned. Maybe there will be just these ideas, but I don't think so. I think there will be tons of other ones. There's so many good ideas. I think there's so many sectors that can be optimized or improved and may be ready for the future. So I don't know, Lucas. I think that's it for me, man. I really, really liked the ideas that they had.
In general, what I love always these call outs, but also I love just strolling through the YC batches that I got accepted and just like looking what they're doing because it's very, very fascinating. Of course, not all of them will work out, but some of them will be huge. And just seeing the variety for me always gets me hyped up and excited to see what the future will bring. And yeah, if you like these kind of videos, please let us know, comment below, and of course, catch you next one. Peace.